that was kind of cool. That was new. That was new. All right. All right. Here we are today. We are celebrating. Thomas passed his broker test.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Finally passed that exam.
That was a little bit of a struggle.
It was.
And I think you underestimated it, didn't you?
Yeah. And like had a very long gap between my class and the exam.
That's true.
So it was definitely difficult. But eventually passed it. It's passed. You only got to beat it once, you know?
Right. That's right. That's my philosophy. It only hurts the first time. All right. So let's just recap for the audience here. We signed up. You signed yourself up yet last year, right, for your course itself.
I completed my broker's course November 20th of 2020.
Yeah.
So a long time. It just I wasn't exactly clear on when I would be okay to take my exam, and I kept checking the website, saying my application was open.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that they needed a second pair of fingerprints. You already submit your fingerprints once when you get your license, your associate's license. So it's the same fingerprints. I don't know why they need new ones. But yeah, so it took a while. It was a pretty big gap between when I finally actually took the exam.
Okay.
And I had forgotten almost everything.
Yeah. So you studied last year. And so what would you say would be a better thing if someone's considering signing up for their broker license? Would you say try to get those fingerprints and the application in sooner? Do they allow you to do that?
I believe you can turn your fingerprints in even before you complete the course. That's what my instructor was telling people. I remember them telling people, sales associates, last time during the class, that you can turn them in early. You don't have to wait until you pass the class necessarily, and that will expedite the process.
Right. Well, everything was screwed up last year anyway.
Yeah. It was a lot on my mind last year.
Yeah. A little bit of COVID going around, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So let's take it back a little bit farther. Let's go back. Now, Tommy, has, of course, been raised in the business. Since he was probably about 8 years old, he started working side jobs and everything like that. Right. That was always fun, huh?
I have to go work. Not have to, but get to go work at investment homes, make a little bit of money to buy video games with.
We were always pretty much sticklers with our kids. If they wanted something, they had to earn it. And I don't regret that decision. But anyway, of course, you've heard our story a little bit, Jake and I. When we started our brokerage business, we pretty much flipped houses, and that's what we did. We sold our own inventory. So our kids always had summer jobs, right? Yes. I tell my contractor, guess what? You got a new employee for the summer, right? And he'd put the boys to work. It was always Tommy and his best friend, Michael.
Yeah.
Kind of like my second son, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he was here yesterday too, and that was great to see him again.
Yeah, that was nice. I'm glad we got him to his flight on time.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about what happened yesterday.
Well, yesterday, he knew I had my exam that day, so he didn't want me to drive him to the airport. He wanted me to give him a ride to DeBerry so he could grab the train. You could just take the Sunrail to a bus station, and if he found this out, if you show your Sunrail pass at the bus station, they'll give you a free trip to the airport, basically. So you can kind of catch the train to the bus to the airport pretty easily. Okay. But when we pulled up to the train station, we left, fairly early, but we had to stop, get gas, time got away from it. We got there, and the train is literally like he's within 10 feet of the train, and it's pulling away. Luckily, I kind of foresaw this, so I was like, I'm just gonna stay right here. I didn't leave. I watched the train go. I was like, okay, let's go.
Make sure you got the airport. All right. And then what'd you have to do?
After that, after the airport, then I drove back to the testing center. The testing center is kind of on my way back. Got lunch, and then I showed up to the testing center. Now, this is my 4th time taking this exam, but the previous 3 times were all online at my own house. And those other times when I submitted, they want you to submit your completion certificate for your broker class. Every other time I had done this, I just emailed them a PDF. So I figured a PDF would be fine. But when I got there, they told me that I needed a physical copy. I didn't have a physical copy. So then I have to drive around scrambling for a print shop. I had to go to a Staples and wait in line there. And thankfully, I showed up very early to the testing center, so I did have time to do this.
So there's hint number 1. Show up early, 30 to 45 minutes early to your test.
I would highly suggest, because by the time I had finished printing my completion certificate and I got back to the testing center, I only had 8 minutes left before they would have canceled my test. If you're there, if you're 15 minutes late past the start time, it's automatically canceled.
They won't let you in. Okay.
Yeah, so
oh my God.
it was very stressful. I was worried I was going to fail just because of that. I was trying very hard to keep calm.
Yes. Okay, now let's talk about that you said that you mentioned you took you 4 times, and that you kind of underestimated it, didn't you?
I did. Like we mentioned, it was a very long gap.
Yes.
But I did take a cram course before my first attempt. And I didn't really take notes. I did listen in on it. But I figured, I've already passed this in the course. I'll just need a refresher and I'll be fine. But I went to take my test the first time and I got, I believe, a 66. And I was like, oh, okay, that sucks. But 1/2 of people who take the exam fail the first time. So it's, almost the majority of people do. So I thought, okay, I'll just take it again in a week. And I studied a little. I studied on my own. I studied with you, and I took it again in a week. And I got, I think, worse. I think I did worse. And that kind of happened again because I didn't really give myself a break in between them. I took it 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Each week, back to back.
Right.
Each time I did like a little bit worse. So it was very demoralizing.
Yeah, the moral of the story is you can't use your test failures as studying, right? That's not studying for the test. No. Just getting through the first 1 or 2 tests. It's not enough to study.
Well, after the 3rd time, I was like, okay, I need to take a step back. And luckily I could redo the cram course. So I signed up for that again and really, really focused on, I was taking notes during the whole thing, made sure I listened to everything they had to say instead of just kind of, focusing on what I thought were my weaknesses.
Right.
And this time I passed it pretty easily. I thought it felt a lot easier this time.
Good. Now you said in your refresher course this time that because you actually paid attention, they gave you a couple of testing hints or tips.
He did give me a lot of testing tips that ended up being pretty useful.
Okay.
My instructor's name was Walt over at Gold Coast Schools, and he referred to them as Walt's Commandments.
Okay. Like Gibbs rules.
Yeah, I'm sure there's many versions of this rule set. But they were very helpful. I think the main ones that helped me were just remembering to. He said RTFQ, read the full question, because they like to fit verbiage into the question that will trick you. So you really had to make sure that you read not only the full question, but each answer fully, because sometimes there will be 2 answers that are technically correct, and you have to pick which one is the most correct. So you even have to read each question, each answer, and make sure that you're picking the most correct one.
Right.
Because it's not always just clear cut finding the correct one.
And sometimes and 3 of them will be Similar.
Another one that turned out to, at least I noticed it frequently as a pattern on the exam, were what he referred to as rebel answers. There's four answers on the multiple choice.
Mm-hmm.
3 of them will be somehow related, and then 1 will be completely unrelated from the other 3. And odds are the answer is the one that is unrelated.
Okay. All right. Good to know, huh?
That turned out, while I was filling it out, I felt like that I noticed that pattern pretty frequently.
Mm-hmm. And, most people kind of freak out about the math,
Yes.
And
I freaked out about the math because, historically my worst subject is math. And it was the part of the test that I probably focused the most on.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's usually my worst subject, but I ended up doing okay on the math and missing a lot of the other questions. The math is the smallest portion of the exam.
Right.
You could miss, my instructor put it this way, you could miss every math question on the exam and still pass with an 85 if you got every other question right.
Mm-hmm.
So when he put it like that, I decided to focus on the law and the like office practices and principles and that stuff, because that's where the bulk of the exam is.
Mm-hmm. And then, so you made your first sweep through the test.
Yes.
Only the logic questions first.
Only the logic questions. I avoided the math. I mainly just went even through just the ones that I could answer without having to think about it. The ones that I was very, very confident about that I knew.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I did that, I went through it again and started going after the logic ones that I had to think about.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started doing the math last, because it's just easier for most people. I'm sure you've explained to the students before. It's easier to sort of break it up into logic and math because it takes different kind of thought patterns.
Yes. Yeah. Your mind can't switch it up that easily. Get it into math mode and it'll roll.
Yes.
All right. Good. Well, Tommy, of course, grew up in the real estate industry, just about. Like we started to say, when he was 8 years old, anytime they wanted to earn money, of course, they had jobs that they could do. And I'll tell you one funny story. Do you guys remember painting the deck?
Yes.
Red
deck. I think it was blue.
Back in his house.
I think it was blue, and we got into a paint fight, and we ended up getting paint all over the
back of the house,
all over the vinyl of the house.
Oh my God.
I think we were like 14.
Yeah.
I do remember that. Yes.
But I wanted to ask you, for the audience, in front of the audience, if you ever felt like your parents were ever on the phone too much. I think realtor parents tend to struggle, with their amount of time that they have to spend on the phone, in front of their family sometimes. So did you ever feel like that?
Not really. No, I mean, I always felt like you and Jake were always very present during my childhood. I mean, Jake always coached my soccer teams. You always were there at the games. I don't remember you being on your phone excessively.
Yeah.
It never really bothered me.
I think that's just one of the things kids won't remember, you could just be present. We just kept busy, huh? And I think that's the beauty of the real estate industry or career in real estate, is that you've got the flexibility, to work around things.
Yeah, we always went on family vacations, to Disney, when traveling. So I never felt like you guys were on the phone too much at all, or were working too frequently.
Okay, good. Now, Tommy first got his real estate sales license in 2010.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
that was fun.
Yeah.
You did
Yeah.
that one right off the bat. That was pretty easy for you.
Well, that one I did
For
it in
younger.
like the way it's not the way you're supposed to. I took my course and I
Yeah.
passed it, and then I did my exam right after that when all the information was still in my head. So it did only take me one time that time. Probably also why I was a bit maybe
Looking
cocky
back.
for my broker's exam.
Because Tommy tests well. He's one of those people, and even all through high school, wouldn't you say? You probably, goofed
Yeah.
off a lot in high school,
Yeah,
but
it's
still
mainly
tested well. I
with my
remember getting,
yes.
yes. I got, teacher conferences with, Tommy doesn't do his homework, but he tests well,
Yeah, that's the important part.
So Tommy could be an A student, but he just chooses to slide through.
If I get extra credit for
Yeah.
technically.
Yeah, I think you slid right through there.
Yeah.
Right through high school.
Mhm.
And you
And then by the
started
time I was in college, I was really kind of tired of school,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I wasn't going to school for any particular career.
Yeah.
I didn't have any desire to get like I didn't want to go to law school or medical school or anything like that. So I kind of decided, you know what, I'm just going to get my real estate license, and get started on that because it's I really didn't have any desire for a particular job, and real estate had a lot of flexibility. It's sometimes it's a very high pressure job, but a lot of the times it's very flexible and you're kind of working at your leisure. So it works for me quite well.
And of course we start, now that he's got a broker license, we will start talking about a 5-year plan and a 10-year plan. And, as a broker, when you get your broker license, there are so many different opportunities for you, to expand and up level your business. Obviously, one of them is a broker can hold multiple broker license or multiple brokerage business licenses within the state. So, he can absolutely sponsor another agent if he wanted to. Not really sponsor. He could be a designated broker of an agent's brokerage business, just the way we started our brokerage business.
Broker of record.
Yeah, you can be a broker of record for another agent in their brokerage. That's how we started. We formed our corporation. We hired a broker of record. It was our company, our brand. We were stockholders. We were in control. We made the decisions until I could get my broker license, and we fired them, So this is obviously one stream of income that you can consider being a broker. Lots of different things, right?
I'm interested in the flat fee aspect. I feel the most. I feel like that would be good because that's almost entirely just data management.
Yeah. We're looking for more and more ways that we can work remotely, so that we can put in some more travel in with our lifestyle, and working something similar to that is going to be something that fits right into our long-term plans, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
Good. And Tommy is getting married this December.
Yes.
December 21st. So yay to that.
Glad I got past my exam before that. I was like, oh God, I have so much stuff to do for the wedding. I gotta get this exam out of my way.
Yes. And hopefully his now fiance, when she becomes his wife, maybe next year, we can talk her into getting her real estate license.
Yeah, I've mentioned it to her.
Yeah.
She's interested.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see.
That's way you can vacation the same time, right?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yes.
She wouldn't have to wake up so early.
Yeah.
Wake up at 5.
She's a teacher, right?
Yes.
She's a teacher. So she's got, a schedule. Yuck to that.
I have a schedule.
Yes. All right. Okay. Do you have anything else you want to add? Just, kind of encouragement for those that are considering getting their broker license.
Well,
Give
I would
yourself
like to
time,
offer some
right?
encouragement. I would like to offer some encouragement to maybe students who have taken it and not passed.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there's nothing wrong with taking it more than once.
Yep.
You can take it as many times as you need to.
Mm-hmm.
I believe you have a 2-year
Mm-hmm.
time limit from when you complete your course. You can take it as many times as you need to in that 2 years. But don't do what I did and try to, if you fail, give yourself a little bit of a break to go back and study. I was trying to just, go back a couple days later and do it again. And I did worse each time. So that's my suggestion. Definitely don't take too long. Don't take months off, but
Right.
maybe give yourself a little bit of a break to study and come back.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my final thoughts on the broker exam.
Now, also something we did differently on the final test was I had him go to a testing site and physically take the test.
That
versus
is true.
Testing at home.
That is true.
I think that makes a little bit of a difference too.
Maybe, I did feel, doing it in my home, you would think that it would feel a little bit better, but it felt a little bit more off-putting somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of nice to go out. And another thing, I guess this might be specific to Florida. I don't know if they do this in other states, but something I found out, every time I failed, I thought, it's the law that if you fail, you're supposed to be able to review the questions that you got wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I failed my online exam, I was not able to see those specific questions. I could only see what categories I had gotten wrong in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I found out is when you take the online exam, part of the terms of service is you waive your right to see the specific questions. If you do it in person and you fail, you are entitled to see exactly what questions you got wrong.
Yeah, see, good to know.
So that's another tip. That would be an advantage to doing it in person versus doing it at your house.
Okay, good to know. All right. Well, thanks for coming on today.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
To congratulate you, Tommy.
I'm so excited that I passed. I was, on cloud 9 leaving the testing
center. You were. And I got the call and I'm waiting. I could hear it. I know I could hear it in your voice every time.
Every other time I was very sad and angry.
Yes. And it's like, I passed.
Yes, there's a huge weight lifted off my shoulders.
Yeah. All right. Well, congratulations.
I worry about my post licensing.
Yep. Don't wait too long to do that.
Yeah, I will get signed up for that ASAP. I don't know that. Can I just do? I have to figure out if I could just do that in a workbook, like the continuing ed, or I think I might have to take.
I think you have to. Well, I mean, I had to physically take mine. It wasn't anything. It's not available online until your continuing education level.
Okay. All right.
If I recall correctly. Okay.
Well, we'll see. Nowadays, they might have an online one.
Yeah.
I haven't done post licensing since 2010.
Yeah. So. And you can take that. You can take that over and over, right? If you fail, you just have to pass it before your 2 years is complete, right?
Yes.
So you don't want to wait to the last minute to take that, because if you run out of time at the end, if you 2-year gap, your license will be zonkered.
Yeah. If you do not do your post licensing before the initial renewal, the initial license renewal, then it will be null and void. So yeah, I need to sign up for it ASAP.
Yep. Don't underestimate it. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Well, I'll talk to you in a little bit.
Congratulations. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.